Almost every service-based business owner wishes they could make faster progress than they are. What is the number one thing holding them back?
Running a service business can be hard. It is not unusual for business owners in industries like contracting, home repair, auto repair, business-to-business services like janitorial, IT and accounting, and many others to feel overwhelmed by all the priorities facing them at any given time. Between addressing the needs of the customers, managing the employees, figuring out the financials, and getting processes in place, feeling like you're making significant progress on your business journey can be difficult. Welcome to Service Industry Success, hosted by Brian Harding. Each week, Brian will look at real-world strategies for building the business you are dreaming of, while also sharing tactics to get through some of the most frustrating parts of business ownership with a lot more ease. Let's get started.
I'm going to start off by telling you a story about a landscaper I bumped into the other day. He lives not too far away from me, and he was talking about problems he's having with, employees and growing his business and all the typical service-based business owner-y kind of stuff. And he made a comment about, I just was getting really frustrated trying to manage a team of employees, and he just wanted less stress in his life, so he decided he was going to reduce the size of his company a little bit and make his life easier. And so I said, yeah, it sometimes feels like that's the way to go. And it always comes down to, do you want more control or do you want freedom? Right. And he says, yeah, now that you mentioned that, I am working a whole lot more than I thought I would be. And I kind of chuckled and I said, well, yeah, it's tough. You want to have it easier, but you want to have your time off too. And this is a very, very common kind of a situation where business owners will, they won't want a lot of employees because managing a large team of people can be frustrating and stressful and frankly, just not very fun sometimes. So they begin to map out or envision building a company which is going to have a smaller headcount, maybe only a handful of employees. In his case, it was something like 6 or so. And they may even start to develop processes or strategies that are going to work with a smaller team of 6 or 8 or something like that. But then all of a sudden the business owner gets tired of working those hours and they decide, you know what? I'm tired of not having my weekends. I'm tired of not getting home until 7 or 8 at night. I'm tired of doing the invoicing late. I'm tired of having to babysit everything. I think I'm going to have to hire some more people. And so then to accommodate for hiring more people, they have to rethink all those processes and strategies and think about what the company might look like with, let's say, 12 or 15 people or 8 or 10 to 12 or 15 or whatever the number is. What would it look like and feel like, and how would it operate with that number of people? So now the business owner has to undo all that development, all the processes, all the strategies, or at a minimum, even if they haven't put those things in place yet, which oftentimes they haven't, they have to rethink how it's all going to work now with a team of 12 or 15. And that oscillation from I'm going to have a small team to a big team and a small team to a big team, or oscillations where you're not sure what you want because you can't declare if you want to have a smaller team or a bigger team. You can't declare what you want your company to look like. That oscillation of going back and forth, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and you don't make forward progress while you're going back and forth side to side. So there's 2 things a business owner, I think, needs to get clarity on to minimize this oscillation side to side between building a small company and a big company, or even just to get clarity on what in the world we're trying to build to begin with. Even if we're not even sure, we're not even to the point where we're talking about how many employees we have or how many employees we want to have. Even if we're not to the point where we can pencil out what our organizational chart's going to look like in 10 years, which we need to do. If we're not even at that point yet, though, we need to get clarity on some things that will keep us from moving side to side and start making real forward progress. And those 2 things we need to get clarity on is we have to choose between control and freedom and time or money. Now, when I ask business owners, which I do on a regular basis, especially in cases where they're citing frustration with employees on, nobody can run here, can make decisions except for me, is a common thing I hear. or I just wish they understood. I just wish that they could do it on their own. I wish that employees would be able to do things autonomously. But then as I dive into things and ask questions, I often find that the business owner is the bottleneck, and the business owner doesn't trust the employees to make decisions. And so the business owner will retain all key decision-making capabilities, and they will not turn that stuff over. And so that stifles the growth of the company. And so one of the things I will ask business owners in that case is, what is your priority between control and freedom? And almost always the answer is, well, I want both. And unfortunately, you can't have both when you're building a business. Now, once you've built the business to the point where you have, 20, 30 employees, or you've built a business to the size that you want, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a large headcount company, but you've built the business to meet your financial needs to live the lifestyle you want, or to have the retirement you want, or to have the house you want, or whatever it is your goals were. Once you've kind of built it and you're just maintaining it, you maybe can have both control and freedom. But while you're building it, you cannot. You have to pick a horse. You have to pick a path. You can either retain control and not have the freedom to leave and go on vacation, or you can have that freedom, but you have to give up control. You have to delegate decision making if you're going to have that freedom. You simply cannot have both control and freedom while you're building a company. You have to choose which one is more important to you. And this is a very difficult question to answer, but there are many, many things that are driven by this. Again, if you're going to be the bottleneck because you do not have the ability or desire to trust people to make decisions, that's fine. You're going to have a tremendous amount of control, but you're not going to have any freedom. You are not going to be able to take 2 weeks of vacation. You're not going to be able to turn off your phone at night, maybe. You're not going to be able to take weekends or even go watch a movie in a movie theater if you cannot relinquish some control. So this is something that's very important for people to get clarity on. Again, if they want to stop that side-to-side oscillation of I'm gonna turn over control, and then a month later or 3 months later, we decide we're not going to turn over control. I need a lot of freedom, so I'm going to hire people, and we're going to delegate a bunch of decisions. And then something goes wrong, and now we're going to reclaim all that stuff, and we're going to redo all the processes so that I'm making decisions again. That side-to-side motion takes the energy and time that you would be spending moving forward if you had a clear vision of what you wanted. When it comes to time or money, this really dictates how many people you're going to hire in some cases. It dictates how many leaders you're going to hire. If your priority is time and you want to have a lot of time off, you need to hire more people to make more decisions so you have the ability to step away. Managers in some cases make more money than people who are revenue producing employees. Not always, but sometimes. And even if they don't make more money individually, adding another body who's just a decision maker or a supervisor or a manager who's not a revenue producing person costs money. So if your priority is time, then you just have to recognize that you're going to get that time that you want. You're going to spend more money hiring staff to do the things you don't want to do so you can step away. If your priority is money and you're driven by making more money and you're willing to put in the hours, you're willing to work the 60, 70, 80 hours a week so you don't have to hire those people, then that's fine. And there's plenty of people who are driven by dollars and they want that paycheck, and they're willing to put in the time and money, or time and energy, and the long hours and weekends and things like that to get it. And that's fine. It's really important, though, for us to have the ability to make forward progress as efficiently as possible, that we've decided for ourselves which of those two things is most important. If you're listening to this and you're not sure what your answer is, then it's very important to take some time. I would suggest taking some time to really walk this through. You may want to talk to your spouse. You may want to talk to other people in your life to help figure out what's going to work for your lifestyle. But we just understand that not having this clarity is just going to slow us down. And it may seem hard to declare your positions. Like I said, if you're sitting there right now and you're not really sure, it may seem like a daunting task. It might take you a few days to figure it out. might even take a couple weeks. That's okay. The time it's going to take you to figure this out and have you come out with that clarity is going to make your life so much easier, and you're going to have so much more efficiency because you're going to know what you're aiming for. It's going to help you decide how big of a company you want to build, which is a critical thing for having efficiency in building it. If you cannot hope to have success in building something that you can't even declare. An example I use oftentimes with people is, I defy you to make a meal tonight when you go home without first determining what you're going to make. It's not possible. You cannot walk in the kitchen and just start randomly pulling out ingredients. Imagine you go to the fridge and pull out some ketchup and pickles, then you walk over to the pantry and you pull out muffin mix, and then you go to the freezer and you pull out, frozen pork or whatever, or ice cream, and you start randomly going through your kitchen and grabbing things. You don't make meals that way. Before you start cooking anything, it might even be only 4 minutes beforehand if you're making something like top ramen or macaroni and cheese, but you cannot start making a meal until you've determined what you're going to make. You might just grab one ingredient and then you go, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to have tuna fish sandwich. Tuna looks good. I'm going to have a tuna fish sandwich. Now you can make the meal. Even something like that. Something will spark an idea and you'll know for sure what you're going to make. But you decide beforehand what it is you're going to make before you try to build it or make it. In the case of building a business, this is one of the things that we don't do, is we don't declare up front what we're trying to build, and we just kind of try to hodgepodge it together. We don't do that with anything else in life. And one of the things we can do to make this process easier of declaring what it is we're trying to build as far as our business goes is getting really clear about what's more important to me, control or freedom, and time or money. So again, even though we now have an answer today, the efficiency we will gain from understanding this is invaluable. So if you're in a situation where you know what it is, for instance, that time is more important to you, and freedom is more important to you, then it's important to start looking at our processes, our strategies, our who has responsibilities for what, who has different levels of authority, and look at all this stuff and make sure that stuff is congruent with our declared priorities. So if we have a priority of time and freedom, then we need to look at who's making decisions. If I have a priority of time and freedom, but I'm the one who's making all the decisions, that's not in alignment. That's not going to work. Something's going to have to give. And most likely what's going to give is my freedom and my time. I'm going to have to answer my phone when I don't want to. I'm going to have to work later than I want to. I have to work weekends sometimes. I have to be available to make decisions, which cuts into my time and my freedom. If my priority is money and control, then we just have to understand that that's more of a short-term strategy. You can make a lot of money by hiring less people and working more hours, and you can maintain control over decision making. I would suggest that we be aware of the fact that burnout is likely in that situation. It's rare that I come across somebody who, when we really spend some time thinking about what's important for them in their life, almost always people have children. Almost always people want to have a retirement. Almost always people want to travel. Almost always people want to have the freedom to enjoy life. This is why they become entrepreneurs, is to take care of their family, to travel, to enjoy life, to have a retirement that they can count on. This is why we do it. So it's unusual to come across somebody whose true priorities is money and control. Generally speaking, the desire to spend time with your family, to spend time traveling, to spend time in places you like, and to get away and enjoy life, those are generally more important than having control and right now money. But even if the case is that you do want the money right now and you do want control right now, we just have to understand that that's going to slow the growth of the company, and your ability to grow it significantly and quickly is going to be limited, and you're going to probably burn out. So again, I'm not saying that don't do that. You may be a fireball of energy and not have to worry about burnout. You may decide that you just won't be able to sleep at night if you don't have control over every decision. And that's okay. It's your company. You can build it however you want. It's just important that we declare what our priorities are between those two difficult choices. It's a difficult choice for most people to choose between freedom and control. We desperately want to have freedom. We do not want to have a business that owns us. We do not want to build a business that we can't step away from, even to go watch a movie or to go, take a weekend away, or especially like 2 weeks of vacation. We want that freedom, but we are so hard pressed to give up control. It's really interesting. It's an interesting human dynamic to watch, where people really struggle with the choice between freedom and control. Time and money is not so hard. Most people know pretty clearly on that one which one's more important to them. That one is generally easier for people to answer right away. The control or freedom is one that generally people come around to. They want the freedom, but it takes a while to get there. That's generally how that goes. So I think the first step in this, like anything in life, is the first step of a problem or solving a problem is identifying we have a problem. This is not intuitive to see this from the inside. From the outside, it's clear as day. You can look at a business from the outside and where a business owner is struggling and see really easily that almost all decisions come down to having to choose between these two things. So the first step is just understanding that this is a thing. You have to, if you want your life to be easier, you want to move forward more efficiently, you want to stop oscillating between this strategy and that, or you want clarity on trying to decide what you're trying to build so you can have a better chance of hitting what you'll have a better chance of attaining what you declare you want. This is a great starting point. So the first thing you want to do is acknowledge that this is a thing and look through different things that you're facing in your situation. And you'll see that most, maybe not all, but most things are going to come down to your strategy is going to come down to, I'm choosing a strategy which is going to give me more freedom, or I'm choosing a strategy that's going to give me more time or control. I'm sorry. And as you look at how you're building things, you're choosing a strategy that's going to give you more time, or you're choosing a strategy that's going to give you more money. And generally that comes down to the number of people you're going to hire, or the people you're going to hire who are non-revenue producing positions. So the next thing after you declare that this is a thing that you have to deal with is just, simply pick your answer. And again, if you don't know the answer right now off the top of your head, take a couple days, talk to your spouse if you have one, or partner, whatever your situation is at home, and figure it out together. We want to move forward in a way that is in alignment, so our personal goals and our professional goals are all aligned. And this is a huge step you can take towards that. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for everyone for the great reviews and ratings so far. I really appreciate that. That's how podcasts work, is you got to get those reviews and ratings. This podcast is for service industry professionals and business owners. So if you know a friend who owns or a colleague who owns a service-based business and you think they could get some help from a podcast like this, please share it with them. We sure appreciate it. That's it for this week, and I will talk to you all next week.